Um, I'm Catherine Steinke. I am the virtually official behavior program manager here at the shelter. We'll be starting that hopefully this week sometime. But I actually volunteered to do this because I have a passion for teaching behavior. And I've had the opportunity to work with a number of species, not just dogs. I have done some kitty training, horse training. I would say I trained a yak, but we didn't really get very far. We attempted to train a yak. I've worked with pigs and goats and chickens and birds and lots of things. So I enjoy working multi-species. I am fortunate enough to also be the trainer for the Chemeketa Pro Dog Training course that was hosted here in the fall. We'll do another one in the spring. And I'm excited about that as well. And you all know Lee. Without whom I would not be teaching this seminar, because he's been behind the scenes getting the animals ready and being just a great help. And Lee and I are in the process of developing a whole new behavior program here, so we're really excited about that. So thank you, Lee, for all your help. I wanted to begin with, how many of you heard you can't train a cat? I mean, people say this to you all the time, right? You can't train a cat. They're not trainable. And I don't have time, but there's a great video that was recently shared on Facebook about showing this African lion doing a voluntary blood draw. So here he is behind his protected barrier, and they're telling him commands to lie down, turn on his side, extend the tail, get the blood out of the tail, and meanwhile he's being clicked and treated the whole time. So you absolutely can train a cat. If you can train an African lion to do something like that. I years ago had a cat that traveled with me when I moved from California to Indiana. I had 3 dogs and a cat. The cat was clicker trained and walked on a leash nicely, but we stopped somewhere in, I forget where, Oklahoma, on a turnpike somewhere. I had my dogs off leash under verbal control. I had my cat on a leash, and something spooked him. And he slipped out of his harness and bolted for the woods. This is on the turnpike. And I called him. He didn't come to me, but he stopped long enough for me to go collect him and put him back safely in the car. So that was all clicker training. So I'm here, he's unhappy in that carrier. We'll get you out in a minute, buddy. So the point is that you can train a cat, and I'm going to teach you some methods today that hopefully you'll be able to continue using in the shelter and teaching other people to promote some adoptable behaviors. So we're going to talk through a bunch of things. You're going to have the opportunity to bring kitties out, then we're going to put them back, then we're going to bring them out, and you're going to put them back. So they'll be in and out quite a bit here. Okay, I want to go over the basics with you. How many people here have ever done clicker training at all, ever, for anything? You're not newbies. Oh, awesome. Okay, so the rest of you are like, what's a clicker? And we have them for you. So Lee, can you just go ahead and pass these out? And just take them out of their little. So the basic idea of clicker training is that your rewards drive the behavior. So the first thing you have to do is figure out what motivates your learner. And we're all motivated by different things. For some of you, I could bring this out and you'll go, wahoo, candy. Would you like a piece of candy? Go ahead and take one. Go ahead and grab one. Grab your favorite. You earned it by being here in class. So for some people, this is very motivating, right? They go, ooh, a piece of candy. For other people, they might think, oh no, candy, I'm on a diet. You just ruined my New Year's resolution. Or maybe it has to be a certain kind of candy. Maybe it has to be chocolate only, right? And so what you want to do is find, she passes. So I know I need to motivate her with something else. So there you go. So what you want to do is you want to find what motivates your kitty. So we're going to talk about using different rewards. So you have to ask your learner the question, what motivates you? Then you decide on kind of what your idea is that you would like that kitty to do or that animal to do. They get to choose the behavior. We're not prompting, forcing, pushing, stuffing, or the only thing we will do possibly is luring, but I'm not even going to show you that today. Well, no, that's not true. I am going to show you that because we're going to lure them back into the crate, hopefully. But behavior is voluntary. So we're going to ask the animal, what do you got for me? And that's why we're using kittens today, because they're going to offer you more behavior that then you can shape. The shaping funnel is a concept where you take all possible behaviors, and at first you just reward the animal for showing up, and then you start rewarding successively more difficult behaviors that are closer to your goal. So shaping is just a process of cutting off the slop into smaller and smaller pieces until you get just the target behavior that you're after. The clicker marks the choice. So before these clickers mean anything to the animals, let's just everybody click. Just pick up your clicker and click it as fast as you can. Let me hear really, on the count of 3. 1, 2, 3, click. 1, 2, 3, click. One click. 1, 2, 3, click. Let's do it together. 1, 2, 3, click. Better. 1, 2, 3, click. If you were going to take a picture, the clicker marks the moment that the shutter is snapped. That behavior, marking the moment the shutter is snapped, is what the animal is being paid for. So it's not a, I'm going to click you to make you do something. I see this with my clients. And they try to shove it at the animal. It's not a, the animal does something, oh, where's my clicker? I'm going to pull it out. It's already over, right? Snap the picture. Then you're going to reward the animal with whatever we've found is rewarding for him. The clicker simply marks the choice, and then we begin to shape in small increments. We're going to go over all of this in more detail. So if you didn't catch all that, it's okay. In your team, and maybe I might have, if this is what we're going to have, I might have the two of you pair up. It's ideal to have a pair. If you think we're going to get more people, then we'll leave it open. I actually have 3 jobs outlined. The wrangler is the person who's bringing the kitty out of the crate and putting the kitty back in the crate and keeping the kitty on the table, while the trainer is the person who is click and feeding. The observer can also be the wrangler, okay? So the wrangler can have 2 jobs. Your job when you're the observer is to watch the training, see how the trainer is marking that behavior accurately or not, and then, and so the observer is taking the information that they're observing, watching, and then commenting and being able to say, well, we need to feed the kitty more precisely, or we need to maybe reward more generously. Okay, so we're going to work through each of these things. Go ahead and stand up. We're going to pretend, without taking our kitties out, you have a bag of treats in your, the dark one is anchovy jerky. And the one on the other side is just albacore tuna. Your kitty will probably have a preference. If your kitty doesn't like either one of those, I also have some other options up here that we can open up, okay? Probably they're going to like one, though. As the trainer, your hands will get smelly, so deal with it or do the wrangling. If you don't want your hands all fishy, then be the wrangler. Okay. In your team? And the wrangler can come around in front too, so you have a person on each side of the table. So wranglers step in front of the table so you can see what to do. Okay, and then you're going to take the kitty out. The trainer's going to interact for a minute. All you're doing is just offering a treat. And wranglers, once the kitty is out of the crate, you should not be interacting with him. Okay, your job is to bring him out, keep him on the table, and then the trainer is the one with the treats at the ready, right? Trainers, your treats are at the ready. No, don't even pick up your clicker right now. Just right now, we're just experimenting with the treats to see who likes it. So let's see if we can find a treat the kitty likes. They should all be slightly hungry. Most kitties will not take a treat from your hands. Most will need it placed on the mat. Give them a few moments to acclimate. If your kitty takes it from the hand, that's great. Oh, go ahead and put that away. That's way too much. A treat is 1/4 of an eraser size of a pencil. 1/4 of a pencil eraser size is the size of a treat. Teeny, itty bitty, teeny tiny. Tiny, tiny pieces so we can give lots of them. How small can you break that treat and the kitty can still lick it up? That's the choice. It says, oh yeah. See if your kitty has a preference. Wranglers observe and find out if the kitty has a definite preference. Okay. Once you've determined that the kitty likes something and is relaxed enough to take it, okay. Looks like everybody's eating well. All right, wranglers, go ahead and put the kitties back in the trainer. When the kitty goes in the crate, offer a treat in the crate. So when the kitty's in the crate, give them one little goodbye treat. That's your thank you goodbye. Put them in the crate and shut the door. Trainer, pop a treat in there when you're closing the door. And go ahead, mission accomplished. Good. One little treat in the crate door. Good job. I think everybody did well. Okay, so now we're going to assess our success. How did it go? What happened? What went well? What needs work? Where are we? Go ahead and pipe in. Tell me what happened. Observers? Kitty, stay on the table.
Chelsea just observed he's not a scent hound. She didn't quite find the treat initially.
So, okay, so treat place.
Took her a while, kind of showing it to her.
Good. I had wanted little treat lids, but you can use a corner of your paper towel and just tear it, and then your treat always ends up on the paper towel. It will help your kitty find the treat. So if your kitty was having trouble finding,
Would you like us to go with a canned food list?
I think Lee just went.
Oh, okay.
So we'll have something. How did it go over here? Okay.
She liked both of them.
She liked both.
Nice.
Yeah.
Did anybody not like a treat? Did your kitty eat? Kitty eat? Ate both? Nice. So at this point, it's fun to work in short little segments, so you always get the idea of, are there changes that we need to do? Is there something I need to do to help my learner? Some of you notice that, oh, he didn't really want to take it from my hand, or he can't find it on the table. By being consistent about where we put the food, we can help the kitty be more successful. So that's the goal. Okay. So go ahead and take a seat. We're going to talk for a few more moments before we get the kitties back out. The behavior options, today we're fairly limited about what we can do with the kitties because we don't have a lot of time. We're going to be pushed for time as it is to get any behavior that's consistent. But there are lots of things we can train kitties to do either on cue or by default. So by default, what I mean is the kitty just offers that behavior. So we can think of some adoptable behaviors that the kitties can do in their kennels to promote adoption. If they come up and they rub their cheek on the side of the front of the cage, people go, oh, look, you know, and they immediately bring their hand. And then if we train the kitties to target the fingers, maybe not quite that. Yeah, okay. We can teach them to touch a hand. If a hand is offered, either touch it with their paw, with a soft paws, claws retracted, or with their cheek. You know, we can train them to that, which is what we're going to do today. Recalls, so that the kitties will come when they're called, besides just using a can opener. Scratching posts, teaching them where in the home is okay to get that behavior that they so need to do with the marking. Carrier behavior, how can this be important, right? Coming into the vet clinic, if we can just have the kitty go, oh boy, it's my carrier, being able to transport them in an emergency quickly instead of having them hide under the bed or getting in for a vet visit. If you go on YouTube and you enter clicker cat or clicker kitty, you will come up with literally thousands of videos of various tricks and behaviors to teach cats. So I encourage you, since you have an interest in that area, to pursue that. It's a lot of fun to see what they're able to do. So here's the process we're going to go through today. Charging the clicker simply means defining what this sound is. So if you haven't heard this sound before and it's new in your environment, what does it mean? Well, we want it to mean something to the kitties. What's it going to mean? Yeah, food, immediately. So what I want you to do, trainers, right now is, just the trainers now, stand up, hold your clicker, and be ready to grab for your treats. You're going to need to go click and feed, click and feed. This is trickier than it sounds, right? Anybody who's done this before, you're like, clickers where, food is where, and you need to be smooth so that the kitty doesn't have to pay attention to all the slop, because there isn't any. So just practice quietly clicking and then presenting the food onto the little, not to the kitty, just put it right out onto your little dish. Just click and feed. Figure out what hand the clicker needs to be in. Figure out what hand the food needs to get to. Yep, click and feed. We don't want kitties involved right now. This is just mechanics for the trainers. So, and your treat size, remember, will be itty bitty bitty. You want a treat big enough for the kitty to lick up, too small to chew. I'm going to say that again. Big enough for the kitty to lick up, too small to chew. So bitty bitty bitty. Those of you with fingernails are going to end up with fish under your nails. Okay, once you've figured that out, then we want to go ahead and talk with your partner. Choose the goal behavior. I'm going to go ahead and pick that for you today, actually, because we're going to just do target training today, and I'll teach you what that is. Envision the funnel. We're going to start with all possible behaviors and go straight down to the behavior that we want. If we use a lure in the behavior, that is, I'm bringing food along for the kitty to follow, part of the training process is fading that lure so I don't have to have that food in front of him all the time. When we can predict, you guys can sit down once you have figured out your mechanics. When you can predict the behavior, you're going to add the cue. So we're going to talk about cue training in a moment. We'll come back to that. Don't worry about it. But just when you'd bet $50 that the kitty's going to do the behavior, that's when you throw in the cue and start pairing them together so the kitty can learn that that's connected. That word is the opportunity for that behavior to happen. And then you practice the cue, behavior, the click, the treat, all in line like that, okay? All right, now that our trainers have figured out where the clicker goes, where the food goes, how we're going to do that, Wranglers, here's the plan. Don't do anything yet. Wait till you hear the whole assignment. Wranglers are going to get the kitties out. The trainer is going to deliver a treat, and when I say return, that means return to neutral. Here's what happens for a lot of people. They get the food out, and they end up, like if you're my kitty, I'm here with the food, and that's all the kitty can see. I want you to click, feed, return. Click, feed, return, so that the kitty is not constantly in the presence of that food. There's a moment when he's not, okay? And then we're going to repeat that 5 or 10 times. You are charging your clicker. You're teaching the kitty that the click means something. What we're looking for is that the kitty hears the click and immediately orients towards the lid, because that's where the food's going to show up. So we want him paying attention to your click, and don't worry, all the clicks will not confuse the kitties. They figure it out really quickly. You're going to click and feed, click and feed, click and feed. Make sure that the feeding is happening as close as you can to the click and still being smooth, that you can return back to neutral. Are there any questions? Okay, let's get those kitties out. Good job, Wranglers, to remember to come around to the front. So we're tag teaming. Anytime you're comfortable, go ahead. Lee, you can stand up. And did you want to work a kitty? Oh, this, yeah. Keep the kitty on the table. Okay, start working immediately. Show the kitty where the food is. He's got to figure out where to find it. Can you just pick up the lid and show it to him? It's okay to bring it to him. Say, hey, kitty, look what we have here for you. Look at that. Oh, yeah. Do you want to eat that? Yeah, there you go. Not well enough. Try the anchovy, or the anchovies. That make me smelling a little stronger. There you go. Wranglers, you can, if the kitty is distractible, you can scratch their neck to kind of keep them in position. Very nice. See if we can click and treat, get kitties to eat. Hey, that kitty's hungry. Like, hey. So what you're learning as we go here is that sometimes you need to adapt on the fly. And this is where the observation skills come in. You say, well, that wasn't quite working the way I thought it was. It's okay. Just shift, adapt, move on. All right? So this kitty we're going to leave out because he was so frustrated in the carrier that now when he comes out, he doesn't want to take the treats. So either his... Okay, so his stress level might have gone up to where he's going, I can't think about food right now. All I'm thinking about is not getting back in that carrier. So we're going to try just keeping him, scratching his neck. And if on this next session, if he is still not taking the food, we can just swap out and go bring that other kitty back in. We have lots of kitties to use this morning, so if we need another one, we can get one. Because I want you to get the hands-on experience. We can always take more time with our individual kitties later. We don't have that much time. Okay, for the rest of you, how did it go? Did the kitty begin to orient towards the sound of the clicker? Good. Did you find that and you're shaking your head, no, we'll come back. Did you find that when he heard the click, he started looking right down at the food?
Our kitty,
she
actually kind of looked in the direction of the sound.
Yes.
And then she
Nice. That's what I'm after. And it went by kind of fast, but it is possible. In order for the learner to get there, though, what do they have to overcome? Right? We've got the stress, distractions in the room. We got all this clickers happening all around the room. The smell of a fish is everywhere. Maybe a litter mate is on the next table. They haven't eaten since last night. You know, they've got lots of things to overcome in order to do that. So we have 1 out of 4. 25, you're in the top 25%. For the rest of the kitties, we're going to take them out and give them another opportunity because it's really important that they understand that the click is important to them. All right? So we'll give it another shot here. This kitty just, well, and actually, what's this kitty's name?
Fluffy Pants?
Seriously, Fluffy Pants. I thought you were kidding. I was kind of hoping there was some other name there. Fluffy Pants. Okay, I'm not in charge of naming, right? That's not in my job description. Fluffy, huh? It's all of us.
It's a little longer than that, but
It ends with fluffy, okay. So Fluffy Pants here might be one of those kitties who says the food, not so much. So what else could we use as a reinforcer for him? Attention, yeah. What else? What was he interested in when we brought it out? He was interested in the, right? So we can just use a little, oh yeah. So what would we do? So this kitty says, ooh, I like movement. I like stuff to happen. So what I can do is say, guess what? The click then becomes an opportunity for play. You just earned the opportunity to chase that toy, whatever it is, okay? And if I had a little flirt pole, a little wand toy, that would work great for that, okay? You can also, he says, yeah, I'm all about that. There we go. So, oops, clap. Try not to hit the kitty. So the kitty can begin to learn that the sound means something cool is going to happen, and that the absence of sound, nothing's going to happen. Okay? So it depends on what is motivating for that individual learner. Perhaps it's touch. Perhaps in this kitty, the click and touch might be the way to go. So the click just means I'm going to scratch your neck. He likes it right here where that collar is, right? So it doesn't have to be food that you're using as a motivator, just like we started out. Yeah, there you go. Okay, so you can use that. And this you'll definitely need two people for, because somebody's got to hold the target stick, somebody has to hold the clicker, and somebody has to scratch the kitty. So suddenly I have three hands. So Rosa, right? Yep. You hold that. And I'm going to show you real quick what the goal is. We're going to begin teaching the kitties to orient towards a target stick on this next one. So, and then I scratch it. Okay, so when I'm scratching, you pull this away. So he saw the target, which is this. We bring it out. He orients. I click. I can scratch. Now, because I've done this for 800 years, I can do this. Even if he's not actually touching it, it's okay. I might get him to pay slight attention to it or even just look at it, and then his reward will come. Okay, so he's going to look at it. I'm going to scratch him. He's going to look at it. I click and I scratch. I'm going to put it over here. He looks at it. I click and I scratch. What is the target stick starting to mean to him? Hopefully, is that something good will happen. Keep him on the table. There you go. So if your kitty is already tuned into the clicker. Did you lose a partner? Did you have a partner? Lee can partner with you. Lee can help you. If your kitty's already tuned into the clicker, go ahead and work on specific target skills. So your pen can be the target. Your finger can be the target. A hand can be the target. You can have them target their nose, their chin, their tail, a paw. You're the trainer, pick. Okay, whatever your kitty is offering you is a great place to start for this first behavior. So if it's a real paw-motivated kitty, use a paw touch. He touches what? Your hand, the pen, I don't know, whatever's easy for your kitty. If it's a real nosy kitty and he's got his nose everywhere, the nose to the target stick or your finger or your hand would be the ways to start. If your kitty is headed the other way, it might be your tail to my hand. Maybe that's the target we're starting with. That's harder because he's not going to be as aware of it. But I'm just saying, whatever the behavior is, you can shape into a more desirable behavior. Okay? So if your kitty is not yet clicking or understanding what that click is, then what we're going to do is just do a click and treat and a click and treat. Okay, I kind of got ahead of myself here, but that's okay. So we'll go ahead and pull your kitties back out and give it a try. So Wrangler's on the opposite side. Your goal is a click, treat, click, treat. If the kitty is not going for that, try some other rewards. Remember, they might need a quick moment to come out and just see what's in the room. The younger kitties are doing a better job. because they're less distractible. They're like so focused because they're starving to death. There you go. So click and scratch. There you go. Good. I like that. Good teamwork. That's very nice. Yep. Keep it. Good catch. Yep. Keep the click and the reward fairly close together so your kitty's starting to make that association. All right, let's go ahead and put the kitties back. Wranglers, put him, or this kitty can stay out. This kitty, whenever I say put him back, he just goes to your lap. Lucky you, huh? Okay, gather kitties, go back in the box. And a treat when they get there. Remember to give them a treat for going in the box. Okay, I saw some very nice teamwork happening. I saw some adapting on the fly. I saw, literally, I saw some very good teamwork where we had changed to one person's clicking, the other person's treating. If you're new to clicker training, as I said, the mechanics are the hard part of getting, how do I click and treat? I'll give you a little tip, and we're not going to go back to this, but one thing that I do when I'm working my horse is I use a mouth click, treat, treat. So it keeps my hands free. And I've worked in an arena with several people working horses, and they're all just tuned into their person and the click coming from that person. So I like not using a physical clicker for the opportunity to work freely with the animal, but lots of people enjoy the mechanics of the clicker, and some people can't make that mouth sound. So, and it's easier to be consistent between trainers if you're using a mechanical button that you're pushing, because that's not going to sound different. It's going to be the same. So there's pros and cons to everything, but that's why we're doing it. But keep in mind, if you want to take this home and start working with your own animal, you do not have to have a physical clicker. You can just use a mouth click.
My horse is great.
Yes, it's easy to use a mouth click in that case. Hi. All right. So on shaping, we've talked about this already, but all possible behaviors. What were some of the behaviors you were getting when you first brought your kitty out? Come on, anybody. What? They're looking around. What else? Walking around, leaping off the table. Okay, these are all possible behaviors. Sniffing.
At one point, he climbed up the front, put his paws up the front of me. But
Okay.
it's really a cute way.
Yes, and wanted to interact. Okay. If we start with all possible behaviors and our target goal is to have them, let's say, touch the nose to the target stick, what are some intermediate steps? Looking at it is probably the first step. Yeah? What else? Taking a step toward it, just continuing that duration of focus. Good. And then, of course, actually touching it. If we want it to continue, we might say, how long does he have to hold it? How long are you going to hold that, right? If you teach a kitty or anything to target to this, now I can work on extended behaviors because I can teach heeling with a target. I can teach leash walking with a target, which is how I trained my dad's cat. So I taught him a target, and now he can follow the target, and he's walking nicely in the harness. He's forgot all about the trauma of putting the harness on. And he can just focus on following the target because he knows how to win with that. Okay, so targets are very powerful, and they're used in lots of different ways. All right. Remember that the behavior is voluntary. You want to choose one behavior at a time to reinforce. So when you're thinking about that shaping funnel, how many of you, some of you have clicker experience, how many of you have played the 101 things to do with a box or whatever with your animal? Okay, in that creativity game, you're rewarding anything the animal offers so that you can get crazy frenetic behavior happening because the animal's like da 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 da, you know, he starts doing all these funky things and that's fun. But when you decided on your shaping funnel and that target behavior, you're going to pick just one thing to reinforce at a time. You're going to get that behavior a couple times in a row, and now you're going to start just trimming off the edges. So maybe in the beginning, you're going to reward looking at the pen, right? Just look at it. Well, if that's all we ever do, then the kitty's just going to do this, and he's never going to progress beyond that. Okay? So there's an 80% rule. You want an animal up to 80% success and then move them on. So when you're about, when you figure about 8 times out of 10 he's going to look at it, now I'm going to make it harder. You're going to look at it, but you need to have some forward motion towards it. Okay? Some of you just went through that really fast because the kitties were offering it, and that's great. Kitties are good for that because they tend to offer a lot of behavior really quickly. Make sure that as you're moving through these that you click only one time. I didn't hear anybody doing otherwise, but make sure as you pass this information on, we're not just going clickety, 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 click. It's click, reward, neutral. The reason is the animal has to process what did he just get paid for. And when he's eating that reward, he's thinking about what just made that come. Okay, and he needs that time. You want to click during the behavior that you're reinforcing. Okay, again, that photo snap. And then you give them the time to process and to eat the treat. Okay, I kind of blew through this already. Practical uses. Oh, Susan?
When we are clicking and then throwing the treat, we're not clicking during the behavior that we're.
That was loading quicker.
That's that's a different thing. Okay, got it.
Thank you for that. That's a great question. You're right. In the beginning, I had you just click and treating because I wanted to teach the animal that the click meant something. It's that token of, well, if you're playing a slot machine, right, the bells go off. What does that mean? It means the money's coming, right? But now the behavior is actually pulling the handle is what makes the bells go off, which makes the money come. Okay, so in the beginning, what we're doing is we're teaching the kitty just that the treat will come when he hears the sound, or the reward for this kitty, it's scratch. The reward will come when you hear that sound. Now I'm going to get specific about raising my criteria so that the animal has to offer behavior that will pay. He's not going to get paid all the time. Only certain things will make that click happen, will make the food come. Okay? Good question. Okay, so let's do another, fair enough. Let's do another session with wherever your team is for your kitty. So you identify the goal, talk to your partner. Our goal is, and this is when I want you to tell your partner, I want him to orient to the click. I want him to follow the target. I want him to whatever it is. Okay, so talk amongst yourselves. And then wranglers come around. Chelsea, yeah, if you click, you must reward. If you click, you must pay. The clicks cannot ever lie. There we go. So one thing, working with the target. Now remove the target while he receives the reward. If it's always there, it loses its potency. So you're going to offer, you're going to click. As she rewards, you pull the target away. Okay?
Ready?
Good job.
Brilliant. That was it exactly. Want to go in her crate?
No, she did like 4 or 5 and then she's looking for
Oh, good. Awesome. That's fabulous. Yeah. She's going for it, so she's real intentional about it. Way to go. Excellent training. Yeah. But you'll see with the younger animals, we work very, very quick sessions. You're like, did I even accomplish anything? Well, yeah, you had 4 touches in a row. That's brilliant. Yeah, good job. And you're done. Yeah. Most of the kitties will probably need a break. Is he taking the treats again? Nice. So it's interesting because I think he's the oldest one here. And so different needs. Part of it's personality, part of it's developmental. Go ahead and put your kitty back and let him have a little downtime. The itching and grooming can be a displacement behavior saying, I'm done, I'm shutting down. Yeah. It could be that he's itchy. Probably not, though. It's not a relaxed grooming scenario right here. Okay, let's have some feedback. How did it go? Let's see. Tell me your name.
Stacy.
Stacy, hi.
She's probably more to do with her age than anything else, but she'll kind of start to get it, and then she'll be like, oh, what's up?
Yeah. Yeah, some of these kittens are very, very young. And so, there is an age component to all of this. You want a young kitten it's easier because they're often giving you more behavior to work with than an older cat who's already got issues. But I have trained adult cats just as fine. So it's all about finding what they'll work for. This is absolutely the worst possible situation to train a cat in. Can I get an amen? Right? Because there's so much going on. This is just not even a close ideal. Our living room will be perfect when we have that because they'll be able to come in, relax. You've got, starting from a nice place. That having been said, this kitty has taught us what? What have we learned?
Switch it up.
Okay, yeah, we're using some social rewards, the petting, we're using a little bit of food now. He's able to relax. He had gotten so frustrated in the crate that he had stopped eating treats. Now he's eating again. So you two are doing a great job adapting your training plan and route. Like they're having him chase the treat, target the treat bag. All of that's just fine. Up here we were having difficulty getting the kitty to focus. You guys changed it up how?
Well, we had him targeting my face.
Okay, yeah.
I mean, with his nose.
Yeah, with his nose. No, not an adoptable behavior.
So we were clicking and petting him when he looked at me. So he
Nice.
turned around and he followed me, he looked at my face, and then he got it to where he was coming up and touching my nose with his nose.
Brilliant. Brilliant solution, yeah. Remember, you can train him to do anything. A treat is just little teeny tiny. You can train them to do anything. You can train them to do on cue anything they will offer you. So don't get wrapped up in, I'm going to make you touch this stick. Work with, behavior is voluntary. Work with what they give you and then shape it towards what you want. I've found that the very first behavior you teach is always the hardest. I'm going to say that again. With clicker training, the first behavior you teach is the hardest because it's opening that pathway to the animal understanding that his behavior drives rewards. That's a new concept probably for most of us. My behavior can drive my rewards? Wow, really? Right? I'm used to being told no, said the puppy. I thought my name was No No Bad Dog. And the kitties are used to just being, kitties can't be trained, so we don't do anything with them. But once they understand that behavior is voluntary and they'll be rewarded for their behavioral choice, you have a pathway now to communication, and it's a fabulous thing. All right, so now how would we add a cue? So adding a cue, what this is once you can predict, he's going to look at me, he's going to touch the target, you can put it on cue. You can tell the animal what it's called, all right? Basically, you want to be able to say, I'll bet you $50 that the very next thing my kitty's going to do is look right at me. If you would not bet $50, and you're going, maybe he will, maybe he won't, it's not time to add the cue. You want to be able to lay $50 on the table. My animal's going to do X exactly. Then you're ready to go, okay? So backing up a little bit, thinking about that shaping funnel, what often happens is people add the cue way too early. And the animal becomes desensitized to the cue. They go blah, blah, blah in the background. It means nothing. What you want is a very reliable behavior where you bet 80% of the time the animal's going to give you that behavior, okay? Now I'm ready to move on to the next step. Now I've got it exactly the way I want it. 100% of the time, he's going to give me that behavior exactly the way I want it. I present the target, he's going to bam with his paw. That's exactly what I want. Now I'm going to label what that's called. Touch, bam, touch, bam, okay? And the click and the treat happen. So it's all about the timing. It's all about being able to predict that the animal is going to offer the behavior, giving them the opportunity to offer the behavior, clicking the moment the behavior occurs, and paying them for doing the behavior, all right? So it's opportunity, behavior, click, treat. That's how you go about adding a cue. The practicing the associations is just repeating that over and over and over. So the animal says, when you offer that word, I need to start searching for my target. So if you say touch, I'm going, where's my target? I know it's here somewhere. Right? And then boom, there it is. Get my click, get my treat. Probably today we're not, you guys can try it, but I would maybe get a few more reps in rather than just 4. Is there a magic number? No. I'm going to get a t-shirt saying, training your animal. Here's my motto. It depends. It depends on this and it depends on that. It depends on the learner. It depends on the session. We're not going to get it all in one session. I just want you comfortable with how to add that cue, okay? But that having been said, are there any questions about adding that? How that works? I will say one more thing. Once you've added the cue, are you finished? If you've ever trained an animal to do anything, you'll know the answer is no, I'm not finished. Because adding the cue isn't as simple. How many of you have, trained? My dog can roll over, you know. He can roll over, watch, and I'll take him out to the park and say, roll over. And he's like, I can't do that here. I've only ever done it in the living room, right? And so getting to fluency, getting to where the animal understands that it's anywhere, anytime, any condition, that takes a lot of repetitions and a systematic plan of exposing the animal to those types of situations. So just putting it on cue, saying the opportunity is here, doesn't mean coming for water, come on in. Having the opportunity to do the behavior isn't enough. You have to be able to teach them no matter what else is going on, who else is there, what the other conditions are, daytime, nighttime. Some animals, like when they're doing husbandry behaviors in the zoos, these are morning behaviors, these are afternoon behaviors, these are night behaviors. And if you ask the animal for a night behavior in the morning, they have no clue. They go, that's a night behavior, I can't do that right now. So you need to keep in mind that for the animal, it's not just as simple as, okay, you know how to write your name, now I want you to write your name. Well, wow, that's not what I've been trained to do. So keep it simple and specific when you're adding the cue and then bringing in those environmental influences to expose the animal. Say, okay, can you do it even though there's another kitty in the room? Can you do it if it's another trainer asking you? Can you do it in the bedroom as well as the living room, as well as the backyard and the front yard and the garage? Now we're gonna go in the park, we're gonna go in the car. Do you see why people sort of fail with their animals? Because they're asking them to do these behaviors that they haven't trained them through all of the steps. Okay, that having been said, let's go back to our kitties and have one more session on whatever step you're on. If you want to try to add a cue after a little review, I recommend the cue touch. And it would look something like this. You would have the target stick in a neutral position. You would say touch, offer the opportunity, click, and reward. Okay? So notice that when the opportunity is there, the click happens. When the click happens, the opportunity goes away, and the reward is what's salient. And the reward is what's in front of them. You can add, if you'd bet 50 bucks. If I bet 50 bucks, so this is always a fun one. It's like, yeah, I'll bet 50 bucks. Ooh, there goes 50 bucks, you know. I start charging myself. Yeah, whatever your behavior is that you have clicked and treated. So for some, it might be, you might use watch, yeah, or look, or whatever, you know, to orient to you. It might just be you know, what do people do when they come up and see the kitties in the crates? What are the sounds they make? What do they do? Kitty, 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 kitty. That's what I do. I don't know why. Why do I do that? There you go. It's a natural thing. These quick little, and the kitties go, whoop. Well, what if we could teach them to offer a face look when they hear that behavior? You have an immediate connection. I get goosebumps because you've just increased your adoptability right there, right? If the person on the other side of the cage is going, and the kitty goes, wow, they go, oh, he loves me. I know, right? The paw, yeah, right? How easy is this to teach? Take your target stick, introduce that, stay on the other, or even just your finger, right? Touch, click, treat, feed, do the thing. The kitty's like, touch, 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 and then he's gonna start putting his paw through, and adoptable behaviors, right? Yeah, I'm paying attention. Okay, talk with your partner. Oh, I'm sorry, one more little piece. Whenever you begin a new session, so each time we've put these kitties away, when we bring them out, it's a new session, right? Every new session needs to begin with a review. It's not fair, especially these really young kitties. They've forgotten everything. They don't have any clue what just happened. Okay, they might wake up when you bring them out. It's a long time. 2 hours is a long time to keep kittens engaged. That's why I was having them have some downtime. They might wake up when we bring them back out. And if not, then we'll just practice with each other. But what I want you to be aware of is when you begin a new session, you need to review at least, well, again, it depends on your learner. When I bring out my Aussie, my Australian Shepherd, she's 3. She's been clicker and positive reinforcement trained since she was a puppy. If I'm working on a new behavior with her, I need exactly 1 rep of review. Because she's like, boom, got it, next thing. When I was working with my old Golden, who had been electric collar trained for a year before I got him, and I started, even after years of practice, he didn't offer me behaviors because he learned early on if you offered the wrong one, you got shocked for it. So that was his default, was to do nothing. So if I brought him into a session, I had to do lots of backup and review throughout his life to remind him it's okay, you're free to move, it's gonna be okay. So you need to think about your critter and what it is they're learning and remembering. So these very young kittens, they've forgotten everything. They might be napping. You may need to go right back to the very beginning of our session and re-engage them and see, hey, want a snuggle, want a scratch, you want a treat? If they tell you no, then you have your answer. Well, it's not going to be right now, and it's okay, all right? If you just want to do a couple little reviews on that and they're ready to move forward, then go ahead and re-engage and continue on your plan. Chelsea?
Can we switch behaviors if our kitty?
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I can give you another behavior if you want, if you can stay with me for a minute. I had decided I was going to drop this just because of time and Kitty's interest, but the next behavior is carrier loading, okay? And so the idea is just to get him to go into the kennel. And how would you teach that? This is a little different than targeting because I'm not going to use anything other than the kennel as a target. So what's going to help him want to be in the kennel? Treats? Yeah, maybe. Maybe not. We don't know. Maybe it's just the opportunity to go back, take a nap, which is why this is second. So how can you set him up for success? Remember our shaping funnel? What are the top behaviors he's going to offer? He might look at it. He might step toward it. He might step away from it, okay? Well, exactly. It is trailer loading. Trust me. What can we do to make the carrier more, what's the word I want? More, thank you, attractive. Treats might. What else? A toy into it might work. What else? What if we made it more secure? What if we took away the security on the table and instead of having a cloth out here, we cover the kennel and make it a little hidey hole? Might that make it more attractive? So you always have to think about your learner and what's in it for him. What does he really want? Our kitty, when he escaped, did he go out into the open space? No, he went to the corner, right? So how can we make this more corner-like? Okay, that might increase the attractiveness. Also decreasing the attractiveness of being out here, because it's now slippery and uncomfortable, might increase the attractiveness of going back in. So you load your setup for success. Once he's in there, you can jackpot. Now's when you can give 4 or 5 of those little tiny pieces, or a good long scratch of comfort on the neck, okay?
And then just wait until he comes back out on his own? Or
No, you could go in and get him, as long as he wants to be in there. But yeah, he's sacked out now, so. Yeah, because then it just would restart it. The other thing that you can do to set up for success, and this goes to teaching anything that's a complex behavior, is getting them halfway there. So if I was working with a kitty who really wanted to be in his crate but was highly distractible, I might start him right in front of the crate with some food already in there. That's called a lure, yeah? So I might keep him right here, and then when he goes through and he eats, I reach in, I feed him another one, and I scratch him, and then I bring him out just a little bit further, and I preload it in here, and now he's going to go. But rather than starting him way over here, right, I'm going to try to make it as easily successful as possible. So yes, if you're ready to move on and you want to try something else, go ahead. I'm going to let you decide as a team what you want to do with your kitty, because we got so many different kitties happening with different things. But set your kitty up for success, however you're going to do it.
Dance with the kitty.
Back out away when you click, and then it comes back out for another opportunity. You click, and it goes away. And then click, and it goes away. And it goes away. Good. Good job. Yeah, she's still into the food, isn't she?
Yeah, she is. Good job.
You can move it to make it more salient for her. Okay, go click. Okay. Good treat placement. That's great. All right. Put it away until she's ready. Click. She already looked at it. Yeah, and now she's kind of offering some other behaviors, but you're not rewarding those.
Okay.
Much better on your heart signal. Good job. That's it. Good job. That's it. Really pleased with what you're doing. How about, let me see, Rosa and Julie? Okay. And Fluffy Pants.
All about what Mr. Fluffy Pants wants and not what we want.
Oh, can I quote you on that? Did you hear her? It's all about what Mr. Fluffy Pants wants and not what we want. That's the key. Behavior is voluntary.
Now a cat that was desperate to get out of his kennel is napping in it.
Yeah, his eyes are open. He's keeping an eye on everything. He is. Yeah, it's like his needs were met. He needed reassurance that it was all going to be okay. And once he had that, probably if we closed the door, he would, not be happy, but he wants it secure. But again, Julie did a good job of reading the cat, and Rosa too, that you knew right away, this kitty needs out. He needs with us. He needs to be with us, and we need to give him what he needs so he can focus. And then he did, right? He started eating eventually, and now he's ready to relax. Yeah. One thing I've noticed is that with the really intelligent animals, they need a lot of variety and a lot of movement in their session. The yak was not like that. Oh, the yak. I have a yak story, but not for today. How are we? Okay. How about Susan and BJ? What did you learn, or one sort of take home from working with your kitty? Or a tip that you can share from this kitty that this kitty taught you?
We were working with him simultaneously, even though I was doing the clicking, so that we were able to shape his behavior so that he started with BJ, he moved to me, he moved to you.
Mm-hmm.
So that was
Yeah.
good.
Right. So they were targeting to just a face look. So just look at the person's face. And it took us all 3 or 4 sessions to figure out what behavior we could click, right? And then once we started...
Yeah, the end of the last session, we started to realize we figured out that look was something that we could
shape.
And so then the last session, it was amazing how much faster it went, because he had told us what he was willing to learn, and we were shaping it, and then...
It's all about what Mr. Fluffy Pants wants.
Yeah, and then I could move my face up and down, and also he wasn't as focused on getting off the table, and he was really into the social thing, and as you pointed out, his nose bump was actually the reward for him. So he would look at us and we would click, and then I would lean closer and he'd be able to give me a nose bump.
Yeah, so it's all about what's motivating for the learner and finding them. And he did not want the cover down. Okay.
He doesn't want any food.
Yeah.
Unlike the other cats, he wants no food.
Yeah, he could care less about the food.
Hi.
He's eating little
He's
bits.
meow at me. Awesome. Well, I think you all got something great out of that. Okay. Again, if we were going to add a cue, so we did that. So if you were to say the next step for your learner, talk with your partner. Talk with your partner really quick, and then I'm going to go table by table. What's your table's next step? Okay, what's Fluffy Pants' next step?
In and out.
To come back out and be able to go back in?
Keep working on this, but maybe make it more interesting with an task.
Okay, so changing up what we're targeting.
And just get her to where she's like 8 out of 10 times she can find it.
Okay. What about for this kitty?
I think we're gonna try and make it like she's doing it pretty well. She's doing it pretty consistently, so maybe moving like the finger from one side of the table to the other. To see
Okay.
if it goes out
Okay.
more consistently.
Okay, so getting a little longer duration of the behavior. And how about up here? What would be your next step?
Well, we were talking about pairing it with a little, a sound, which would be a cue.
Really? Mm-hmm.
And we had already started varying where my face was when he looked at it and who he was looking at. So we thought, now we'll add that.
The cue. Yeah. And for that,
people will do.
yeah, anything. And probably the clicker training is also great for conditioning an animal for lots of behaviors, including the do nothing behavior. But something changes in my environment and it's okay, right? So for this kitty who's slightly uncomfortable being in the crate, what we can do is say, guess what? When the crate door is shut, you're going to hear that click and receive a treat. He didn't really do anything other than lay calmly in his crate, which is the do nothing, yeah? So how about if we get a clicker ready and a treat ready? And I'll briefly close the door, and you'll click when I say now, and then you can move so you can see, and then you'll provide the treat when I remove the door. So this is similar to the target training. It's just that we're adding a new stimulus. The stimulus is crate door, right? Crate door closed, click treat. And then we can work on duration. Ready? My team ready? You ready to treat? All right, so this is what it's gonna look like. It's gonna go crate door, click. Now, remove and treat. And then we want to assess Kitty's ability. He's not interested in the treat right now. We're gonna pretend. So we're gonna go crate door closed, click, and go ahead and present the treat even though he's not eating it. He does like the pets. Do you understand how simple that is?
Wanted that one.
He did eat that one? And so crate door closed and treat. So we can speed up our treat delivery just a little. We'll let you be ready next time.
Okay.
Then we can begin, since this kitty is relaxed and all of that is going fine. Did he meow? Since all of that is going fine, we can begin to add some duration. So don't click until I say. Click. Right? Do you see how this can transfer very easily into helping an animal who's not used to being confined or doesn't want to be confined deal with confinement, knowing that it's for a short time. And then I can, don't do it yet, I can build duration, slowly, click, and then as soon as the click happens, I remove and feed. You can do this if the crate door is attached, it just happened to be off, so it's easier to show you. This is how you can get even the most nervous animal who doesn't want to be confined, a puppy, a cat, whatever it is, they don't want to be confined, used to having that door shut. This is how I teach them not only to go in their crate, but to go in and lay down and relax, knowing that it's just for a short time. Then we add duration between clicks. Keep those sessions short, give them lots of opportunity to leave. I'm not forcing this animal to be in here. He can leave anytime he wants. Behavior is voluntary. I'm going to reward the behavior that I like. I like you being in your crate. I'm going to teach you you can be in your crate for longer and longer periods of time. Questions on that? Kind of fun, isn't it? Once you begin using positive reinforcement and clicker training, which overlap but aren't the same thing, you can communicate with the animal to choose behaviors that he finds reinforcing and then decide what behaviors you want to increase and get more of those without using punishment, force, fear, intimidation, pain, or any of those things. Okay? Questions? Okay, well, we'll finish up here. Go ahead and give your kitties a break. So we've learned that behavior is voluntary. The learner gets to decide the behavior. They choose the behavior. They choose what defines reinforcement. Yeah, kitties like anchovies? Maybe. Kitties like tuna? Maybe. Kitties like hot dogs in small amounts. What do you like? What is your learner like? They get to decide whether it's reinforcing or not. You know, most humans will work for money. And some people would rather have, you know, the acknowledgement or the, you know, I'm a star. I'm a poor artist, but I'm a star, you know. They want the recognition. What reinforces them is up to them. It's their opinion. Yeah? So when I'm clicker training my horse, he gets to decide whether those alfalfa pellets are worth it or not. If I'm doing trailer loading, alfalfa pellets are not worth it. Okay? Because he's had fearful experiences in the trailer. So it's not reinforcing for him to get an alfalfa pellets, a handful of alfalfa pellets for going in the trailer. However, grain is a whole nother story. So there's this thing called the matching law, and I want to match that behavior that he's offering with appropriate reinforcement. You think about your typical jumpy, mouthy, you know, Labrador who'll eat anything. You want to use lower value reinforcements because if you offer him cheese, he's going to take your arm off at the elbow, right? So you're going to use boring kibble for his reinforcement. Learner gets to define the reinforcement, and you need to assess, is it too reinforcing? Is my learner too hungry? Or is it not reinforcing enough and I need to up the value? Change the behavior in small increments. Remember that shaping funnel. Okay, little tiny changes, shaping closer and closer. How many of you played that hot and cold game when you were a kid? You know, somebody would hide something in the room, and you come into the room, and they would, all the people who grew up with the computers are not nodding their heads. I'm just noticing this. Okay, so back in the dark ages, before we had video games, we would hide things in the room, and then, you know, your friends would say, oh, you're closer, it's hotter, you're hotter, oh, you're getting so hot. The closer we move towards it, yeah, you're on fire, you know, or you're colder, you're moving away from it. So that's what the shaping funnel is all about, changing in small increments. Keep it simple. If your learner quits on you, he's not stupid. You just need to find a better way to explain it to him what he's supposed to be doing. Usually, it's that you've lumped far too much into one big puddle and you're hoping he catches some of it. If you broke it down to a very small piece, you probably will get it. And above all, have fun with it. It's clicker training should be as reinforcing for you as it is for the kitty. You should have a good time. It should build, and he just chill, or she. So you should have a good time with it. At the end of a clicker session, you should be smiling and your kitten should be happy. That's the way it's supposed to go. Are there any other questions? I think you all did a fabulous job. I was really impressed with how each one of you was able to bring something to your own work with the kitties, and great ideas across the board.